Hello and welcome everybody. Welcome to Sectors Made Simple, either for the first time or welcome back to Sectors Made Simple if you are returning. It's a pleasure to be here with you all for the first part of our Step into Sectors series. This series is aimed at providing you the quickest and easiest way to get started investing with Sectors Made Simple. While we do offer hundreds of hours of material and amazing complex ways of understanding the market to help you invest your way, not everyone has their way already. Some people, and honestly the majority of people, need that first place to start. And they don't need hours upon hours of education to help them get started. They need to get started, they need to start learning, and they need a way to start investing so that they can begin to understand the market from the inside out. So, today, I want to show you exactly how easy it is to start investing with Sectors Made Simple. By the end of this video, which is going to be 1 hour or less, you will have a trading strategy that you can use through Sectors Made Simple to make, hopefully, some solid returns. I will show you the returns that this strategy has had throughout 2023, but as always, past results never guarantee future performance, which leads us right into today's presentation and the usual disclaimer. It's not fun, it's not pretty, but we have to talk about it. Whenever we do these webinars, all of the information and any examples or stocks that we provide are meant for educational purposes. Past results can never guarantee future performance. The market is always changing, and what has worked in the past might not always work in the future. That's why testing, trusting but verifying is very, very important, and that is something we emphasize a lot here. Yes, today I will teach you about a strategy. Yes, this is a strategy I personally use every single week, but I'm also going to show you in the second part of the series how you can check and validate the results of these strategies for yourself. Don't trust a talking head on the internet, do it for yourself, and I will show you how you can do that. But today, we're going to keep it nice and simple and introduce you to the Step into Sectors series. This series is meant to be a fresh approach to teaching you about and how to use Sectors Made Simple for your investments. The goal is that by the end of, not the series, the end of this webinar, you will have a trading strategy if you have a Sectors Made Simple subscription that you can use to invest. I can teach you this strategy in less than an hour, promise you. And the hope is that through using this basic strategy, you start to get experience, and with experience comes confidence. You will start to feel more comfortable. You will start to ask questions. And that's what we want. We want you to gain confidence. We want you to ask questions. And most of all, when you have those questions, we want you to know that the Step into Sectors series will be here to help you on that next step, to answer your questions, and to show you some suggestions of where you can take your investment education from here. Now, if you watched our introduction where we introduced this series last week, you will know that in that series I mentioned that the plan for the Step into Sectors series is to have today's video, the first episode, be free, and all of the other videos would be for Sectors Made Simple subscribers only. That's changing. We felt that this information should be at the benefit of everybody. This is our way of showing how to get into Sectors Made Simple, and we want to share that with the world. So, the Step into Sectors series will be available for everyone to watch here on YouTube. All future live webinars will be available and will be live streamed here on our YouTube channel at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, every single Friday, with lesson number 2 coming less than a week from now on this Friday, September 15th at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. Now, I will say this. The majority of these webinars will focus on using Sectors Made Simple's tools to invest. these tools are restricted to Sectors Made Simple subscribers. So, if you do not have a Sectors Made Simple subscription, unfortunately, it's going to be a little tricky for you to be able to follow these strategies. But hopefully through this series, you will be able to learn the value of Sectors Made Simple and how getting involved with us is extremely, not to sound redundant, but simple. We named the company Sectors Made Simple for a good reason. We want it to be simple. And I do want to mention, we do not tier out access to our tools. If you have a 3-month subscription or an annual subscription, you get access to all of our tools. All of the resources that we offer on our dashboard, so all of the tools that we'll go through in this series and more, are available to any subscriber. So there's no elite or pro tier that you need to worry about. Any subscription gives you access to our tools and lets you take full advantage of everything that we cover in the Step into Sectors series. Now, before we get into the strategy, I want to give a quick intro about Sectors Made Simple. But before I do, by the way, these are live streamed. Welcome to live production. There's going to be mistakes. We're going to have some fun though. I also will take a second every now and again to answer questions in the chat. Leovani, Step into Sectors number 2 will be on Friday, not next Tuesday. Correct. Next Tuesday, we will continue with our members webinars. So we are not putting members webinars aside while we're doing the series. Every Tuesday, we will still have our English members webinar here on YouTube. That is for Sectors Made Simple subscribers only. On Thursdays, we will have our Spanish members webinar called SM Español. That will continue as well. And then on Friday on YouTube, for everyone to join us, we will have the Step into Sectors series. So you get us here for 3 days a week for the time that we're doing Step into Sectors. So we're not going to be missing out on any members webinars, but we will continue with this series, opening it up to as many people as are willing to learn how to invest. Great question. Now, brief introduction about Sectors Made Simple. I'm not going to bore you. Sectors Made Simple is a big family. Quite literally, it is a family. It is me, my mom, my wife, and our extended family as well. My best friend from college and the best man at my wedding, Nate, who is our developer, as well as the entire Sectors Made Simple community. They are our family as well, and we would be nowhere along as far as we are if it weren't for all of them as well. So everyone that is part of Sectors Made Simple's community is part of our family. And it is all of our goals to bring the knowledge and tools of Wall Street to Main Street and to you. We try and push what is possible using current cutting-edge abilities with code and tools to give you information like no one else. In our time through Sectors Made Simple, we've created over 250 hours of educational webinars, with half being in English, half being in Spanish. We've also created a wide range of investment tools with different offerings. Some help you to be able to understand what parts of the market are doing the best right now. Others will allow you a way to find the best companies in the S&P 500, while others will show you the opportunities for companies that are potentially about to go on a breakout and have the opportunity for profit. All of these tools are what are included in Sectors Made Simple subscriptions. But also, we create strategies. Many of our tools have the ability to create strategies and, more importantly, test those strategies so that we don't just say, here's the strategy, it works, trust us. We can actually show you how well it works. We're not going to pretend that the strategy is the golden goose that's going to lay the golden eggs. We're going to show you the good, the bad, and everything in between. We don't want to show you the most profitable thing, we want to show you the most honest thing. And thankfully, honest and profitable, they're not mutually exclusive. there are ways that we can do both. And today I want to focus on these strategies. More importantly, I want to focus on one strategy. This strategy is one of the best, most consistent strategies that we've created. It takes less than 5 minutes a week to use. It only trades one thing per week, and I can teach you how to do it in less than 15 minutes. It seems too good to be true. It's honestly not, and I'll show you. And by the way, this strategy has outperformed the S&P 500 in 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023. So compared to buying and holding something like the S&P 500, this strategy has outperformed it consistently for the past 4 years. But before we go too far, this is the first video. We do need to cover the basics. Otherwise, you're going to be looking at a bunch of letters and having no idea what they mean. My job is to make things easier, but I can't just throw you straight into the strategy. So here's a little context for what you'll need to know. The investments that we are looking at are what are known as sector ETFs. Sectors, let's take the first word there, is a grouping of companies based on what they do. So they will be in a similar kind of industry as each other. So for example, the technology sector might have companies like Apple, Microsoft, Intel, Nvidia, and more. The financial sector might have companies that are involved in banking or insurance, such as Bank of America and JP Morgan Chase. Finally, energy is another sector that will have oil and drilling companies such as Chevron and Exxon Mobil. In total, there are 11 different market sectors, and each and every company in the stock market belongs to only one. So each company will belong to one and only one sector. So that is what a sector is. What is an ETF? An ETF, or exchange traded fund, is a type of investment, and we can think about them like a gift basket, where instead of buying a singular company, or having to go out and pick out all of these little, imagine you're going to the grocery store and you want to get a nice Valentine's Day present. Instead of having to go and pick out a few chocolates, a few nuts, maybe a candy bar or two, they have the really big, nice gift baskets. They come with a little bow, some wrapping. They look really nice, and they make your job easier. You don't need to go and buy the basket, buy the stuffing, and buy all the candy inside. You buy the whole basket, and someone's put it together for you. It looks very nice, and many of these baskets will have common themes. So it might be for dark chocolate lovers, for white chocolate lovers, for people that are a little nuts like me. All of these and more are different options that you might have in a grocery store. ETFs? Not very far off. ETFs are gift baskets, where each gift basket will be something different. So they will have common themes. Some will focus on companies based in China. Others will focus on companies in the technology sector. Wait a second. Sector. Right there was the magic word. There are ETFs for each one of those 11 sectors that I had just talked about. So instead of needing to say, oh, I want to buy technology, and needing to go out and buy Apple and Nvidia, Intel, Microsoft, AMD, you can buy the technology basket. And that gives you exposure to the technology sector. At Sectors Made Simple, we track these 11 sectors through sector ETFs. Each sector ETF represents its sector. And to make sure that we are using fair comparisons, that we are using the same family of things, we have chosen to use and compare ETFs from the organization State Street Global Advisors, or as their name does not clearly imply, their acronym is SPDR, SPDR. So, what are we investing in? We are investing in sector exchange traded funds. Why? Because sectors is what we focus on. We want to be able to know, and we want to be able to find what sectors are doing the best and buy into that sector. And then eventually get out of that sector and jump to another one. This is what is known as sector rotation. And this is not something we invented. Sector rotation has been around for decades. In fact, the inspiration for Sectors Made Simple was a trading strategy by a person named Meb Faber, who focused on a trading strategy using sector ETFs. We tested that strategy, found it worked really well in the 1900s, kinda well in the early 2000s, and hasn't really done that well since. We wanted to find a better strategy, and find a better strategy we did. Let me show you. Here are the steps for this strategy. After I show the steps, I will actually go to our tools, and I will show you what those steps look like if today was the day that we would trade. Unfortunately, it's not. This trading strategy uses data from Wednesday. Our data updates after the market closes every day. The market closes at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. You don't care about that. All you need to know is when you go to our tool, make sure where you see the date here, you want that to say Wednesday. If it says Wednesday, continue on to step 2. On the matrix and momentum table, sort the current table by total count. We can do that. You can see my cursor. Also, I'm going to move the window just a little bit so we can still have the subtitles. If you are new here, by the way, our community is extremely bilingual. We offer education and strategies in both English and Spanish. So wherever and whenever possible, we offer Spanish translations for our websites, as well as all of our webinars have subtitles, either directly in the video or the option to add subtitles as well. Now, we want to make sure that step 1, make sure that this says Wednesday. It doesn't, we're going to keep going though for the sake of example. Step 2, on the matrix and momentum option, which you can see on the menu here on the left side, that's where we are. We want to sort this table by total count so that the highest number is at the top. We can do this by clicking on the purple total icon. Now what we have is we have this table sorted, so the highest total count, which is the strongest sector, is at the top, the weakest is at the bottom. That is step 2. Step 3, scroll down on the page, and on what is called the momentum table, set this to 2 weeks ago, then sort by X count. Scroll down to momentum table. This, if you care, shows us how today's matrix compares to one in the past. Just shows us change over time. So we want to go to momentum period and set it to 2 weeks ago. And we want to sort it by X count. So by clicking on the purple header here, we can sort it. First, where the smallest would be on the top, click it again. Now the biggest is on the top. This is what we want. Our setup work is done. We want the current matrix so that the total count, we have the biggest total counts at the top, smallest at the bottom. And for X count momentum, we have our momentum period as 2 weeks ago. And we have our X count sorted so that the biggest X count is on top, the smallest X count is on the bottom. Here is where we actually get to figure out what sector ETF the strategy picks for this week. Start with the top sector on the matrix, which is the highest total count. We'll start here. XLY. Eventually, you'll learn that that means the discretionary sector. This is going to be luxury goods. This is going to be the wants, not the needs in your life. This will be automotive companies. This will be things like Amazon. Things that you don't really need, but you might want. So we'll take discretionary. And again, you don't need to worry about what discretionary is right now. Eventually, you can. For this strategy, you don't need to. XLY. Scroll down, find XLY, go across to see what number its X count is at for the momentum table. We would pick that sector if it has an X count momentum of 2 or more. In this case, it does have an X count momentum of 9, which is 2 or more. So if it does, that's the sector for the week. Ta-da, you're done. That's all it takes. I told you it can be done in less than 5 minutes. It took me about 5 minutes to explain this for the first time. Now, if it doesn't have an X count momentum of 2 or more, imagine that this didn't have an X count momentum of 2 or more, you'd go to the second sector. In this case, XLE, which is energy. Scroll down. We find XLE. It has an X count momentum of 4. Cool. That would be the sector for the week. We repeat this over and over and over. So if XLE didn't, then we would go to the third one, XLC. XLC, 1. Next. XLK. XLK, 0. Next. You just keep going down the list until you find one that has an X count momentum of 2 or more. Now, if there is no sector that has an X count momentum of 2 or more, the strategy doesn't break, it just doesn't buy anything. It would just buy nothing, and it would wait until next week to check again. That's all the strategy is. So let's go through this one more time, and I'll show you the steps again. When you see Wednesday here, so that's after market close on Wednesday, all the way until market closes on Thursday. So you have all of Wednesday night, all of Thursday morning to do this. So when this shows Wednesday, we're good to go. Click on the purple total so that the biggest numbers are on the top, the smallest are on the bottom. Scroll down to momentum. On the drop down for momentum period, we want to change this to 2 weeks ago. And then by clicking on the purple header for X count, we want to make it so that the biggest X count is on the top, the smallest is on the bottom. From here, we start with whatever the top sector is, energy, discretionary, they are tied. So we're not going to get into handling ties today. For today, we're going to keep it nice and simple and say, take your pick or pick whichever one is on the top. There are ways that we can break ties in the future. We're not worrying about that today. So you take the top one, XLE, check to see if it has an X count momentum of 2 or more. It does, that's the pick. If not, go to the second one. Check to see if it has an X count momentum of 2 or more. Clelio, so Jonathan, every Thursday the investment is... So Jonathan, every Thursday is the investment or Friday? Every Thursday. So it is, you are trading during the trading day on Thursday. If you want as close to what I'm going to show for the backtesting results as possible, closer to the end of the trading day, market closes at 4 p.m. Eastern. That's too much for you to remember. If you're in the United States, if you trade in the mornings before noon, you're good. So you want to trade, the strategy would trade on Thursdays in the morning, where the verification to make sure we're good to go is that right here, below where it says current matrix, instead of saying Tuesday, it would say Wednesday. Now, that is how we pick a sector. How do we go from a sector pick to our portfolios? Once we've chosen a sector, the strategy would buy that sector and hold it until the next week. Next week comes, you check to find what the new sector is. Now, what do you do? If it is a new sector, so let's say last week we had XLE, this week we would buy XLY. What we would do is we would sell the old sector, so we would sell XLE and buy XLY. So you're getting rid of the old, putting in the new. If the sector is the same as the previous week, so if last week was energy, this week is also energy, you don't have to do anything. You're done. You would just hold that sector until next week. If there is no sector, the strategy would sell the old thing and do nothing. It would just hold cash until the following week. That's it. 15 minutes, and you now have a strategy. I would now say let's go and take a look at it, but we just finished doing it. And now you probably might have a few questions. These aren't questions that you all had, these are questions that I thought would be commonly asked, so I wanted to answer them. But if you have additional questions, please put them in the chat now, or if you're watching this recorded, you can send us an email at support@sectorsmadesimple.com. We do not have a support team here. Again, we are a family business. You emailing support is you emailing me. You will get a response from me or my wife helping you to answer your questions. So, let's answer a few of the frequently asked, and by that I mean the questions that I think would be important to answer. Why Thursday? Why are we trading on Thursday, not Monday or Tuesday? We tested over 20,000 different strategies to find the ones that we have today. Thursday had the best strategy, this one, but also had the most strategies that did the best. Why Thursday? Great question. Can't really give you an answer. My best answer is it's not Monday or Friday, which are close to the weekend and will have slightly weirder volume as a result. It's not Tuesday or Wednesday that usually has the most new information coming out, new earnings, new results for companies, whatever it might be. There's a lot of stuff happening. Thursday just seems to be the best day, and by a significant margin. So Thursday is the day that we would trade these strategies. Why close to market close? This isn't a rule. This is just when I'm asked, when should I do this? My answer is going to be close to market close because we backtest our strategies. We have a system on our website that lets you go in and see how well a strategy would have done. So had we started with this strategy in January of this year, by the way, this whole tool I'll show you how to use on Friday. Had we started with this strategy at the beginning of 2023, the S&P 500 has done pretty well. It would be up 20%. So had you bought just the S&P 500, you'd be up 20%. Our strategy has tripled the return of the S&P 500. So the S&P 500's gone up 20%, we've gone up 60%. So why close to market close? Because the numbers that we use to get that are the market close numbers. If what you care about is getting results as close to this as possible, trade closer to market close. If you're not too worried about the little changes of what happens during the middle of the day, you can buy earlier in the day, whatever works best for your schedule. Speaking of schedules, not all of us can trade stocks during the day. So what happens if you can't trade the strategy during the day on Thursday? Can you trade the day before or the day after? Can I still use the strategy if I can't trade during the day? Yes. Can I trade the day before or the day after? Yes, but be careful. What I will say, I will give much better answers to those two things on Friday, because I'm going to ask those questions and look at the data. You're not going to take my word for it. We're going to look at the real numbers to answer. Can you trade after the market closes? Can you trade the day before or the day after? All of that we will talk about on Friday. So let's quickly do a sneak peek for Friday's webinar. Remember, this is step into sectors. Each video will be an additional step. If you think that this video was enough and you just want to get some experience with the strategy, you can make the strategy work for you right now, great. Don't worry about episode 2, it's going to always be there. If you can't trade during the day on Thursday and you want to know how you can trade the strategy on a day that's not Thursday, episode 2 is going to give you the answers. Episode 2 will show you how you can backtest and see results for yourself. So we are going to take this same strategy from today and take it one step further. We will talk about how we can make changes to the strategy. We will look at how to run backtests like the results I just showed you. We will look at ways of changing the strategy and how those changes change the results. We'll talk about if the strategy works, if we don't trade it during the day, instead we place our orders while we're having dinner Wednesday night, or even Thursday night. All of these numbers and how we can make them simple, and a little bit more, will be coming up this Friday, which will be September 15th. Now, that concludes today's webinar, but there are a few questions in the chat that I want to answer. If you are here with us live, again, if you have any questions, now is a great time to ask. I will go through and answer all the questions that I can. After selling the sector, how many days do we have to wait for the money to be available to buy again? Great question. As long as you do not have a cash account and you haven't gotten in trouble with your broker or anything, if you just go to Fidelity, Robinhood, TD Ameritrade, and open a brokerage account, when you sell the ETF, when you sell the sector, you can immediately buy the new one. For those that are a little more adventurous and want the actual reason or a bit more information, it's what's known as a good faith trade. Stocks, you don't immediately get the money. It takes a little bit of time for them to give it to you. 2 days. But the broker knows that the money's going to come in eventually, so they'll say, here, you can spend the money as if you had it. There's just 1 or 2 rules. Long story short, how long do you have to wait? For 99% of people, you don't need to wait at all. For the 1%, you probably already know who you are because you've set up your account so that this is something that you know you cannot do. And if your account is set up like that, they're not going to let you do it. If you want to learn more, we have a webinar on our Learn site, which is where all of our webinars are. https://learn.sectorsmadesimple.com. On the Learn site, we have a webinar called Trade Violations. In that webinar, I talk about good faith violations, which is the little thing that can happen if you do this and make a mistake. Not the end of the world. They're not gonna take money from you. They're not gonna throw you in jail. It's no big deal. So if you're that worried, go check out the Trade Violations webinar. But for 99% of people, you can sell the ETF and immediately buy the new one with no problems. What's going to happen with the members webinar and this series? So again, the members webinars are always on Tuesdays. So this today is taking the place of our members webinar this week, but we are moving these videos to Friday. So we will be doing these live Step into Sectors webinars every Friday, and our members webinars on Tuesday will continue. So Sectors Made Simple subscribers will not lose out on any time or any videos. We will be back next Tuesday with another Sectors Made Simple members webinar, as well as this Thursday we will have our Spanish members session, SM Español. Buenas noches, Jonathan. He visto los episodios básicos. Es importante que lo marque terminado para seguir con el resto de los vídeos. La meta para esta serie es: tú no necesitas ver ningún otro video para usar la información de estos webinarios. El serie de básicos tiene mucho más información como esta serie, porque esta serie solamente es para estrategias y cómo puedes usar Sectors Made Simple. No vamos a hablar sobre point and figure o fuerza relativa o información que no es necesario para hacer estrategias. Solamente vamos a hacer estrategias y cómo puedes cambiar las estrategias y seguir cada paso en este viaje. Si quieres aprender más sobre las herramientas o algo, quieres aprender sobre el S&P 500 Screener o matrices personalizadas o algo, sí. Todavía recomiendo el serie de Back to Basics. Esta serie todavía es muy importante. Alright, so just going to quickly translate that answer. So the question was, we have another series known as Back to Basics. Is it important to watch that video or watch that series in order to join us for these webinars? No. In fact, the goal of these webinars is that you don't need to watch Back to Basics at all if you don't care. These webinars will focus on strategies, on using our tools, but if you're interested in learning about our tools, if you want to learn how the tools work and start using them for yourself, I do recommend Back to Basics. Back to Basics will cover things that we won't really cover in this series, like the basics of point and figure, relative strength, and many of the more advanced tools that we offer here, such as the S&P 500 screener, which shows you the leading companies in the S&P 500, or custom matrices, which is a way of comparing companies of your choice. For those, I still do recommend Back to Basics and many of the other webinars that we have to offer here at Sectors Made Simple. This is not saying the 300 webinars we've done in the past are useless. They're still very useful. This is just a new way of offering this information for the people that don't care about all of the little details. They just want to know, what is it? How do I use it? Can it make me money? That is the goal of this series. So both series are very valuable, but for two different people. And hopefully, through this series, you'll get interested. You'll ask, hey, I want to know about the matrix. How can I learn about how you're doing this? What are these numbers? Where are these numbers coming from? What in the world is this horrible game of tic-tac-toe that you've got going on there? Those answers are in the Back to Basics series. For this series, we're keeping it way simpler. I'm going to show you the strategies. We're going to tweak the strategies, and then we'll talk about a few more strategies. Daniela, to use the backtesting, you select the sector and then backtesting. So backtesting, I'm not going to get too far into this today because, again, we will cover this in a lot more detail on Friday. Backtesting, what you do is you tell it how many sectors you want to invest in per week, only one for this, and then you give it the rules for the strategy. So the two rules I gave it are that I want to look at total count first. So total count of at least 0 says, as long as it has a pulse, as long as it is a sector, cool. But look at the top sector first. And only take the top sector if it has an X count momentum of at least 2. So 2 or more. That's all this is saying. So total of at least 0. Sort this by biggest to smallest. And we'll buy the first thing that has an X count momentum for the 2-week momentum table of 2 or more. Great question. Great question. And I'll show you how to set up this exact back test in Friday's webinar. Are there any other questions for me? Of course. Thank you for the great question. So again, for this series, for Step Into Sectors, the next video, number 2, will be available available to watch live on YouTube on Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific. Now, party favor for you all, if you've made it this far, thank you. We wanted to make sure that if you want to review the information from this webinar, you don't need to rewatch a whole 45-minute webinar. So, we have written all of the information from today into guides. The guide is available in both English and Spanish. So that is the English link, and this is the Spanish link. It is the same information, but translated into both English and Spanish, whatever you prefer. So if you want to review what we covered today, if you want screenshots of all of the different steps, I promise you, this guide is 8 pages. It's mostly pictures. It's a picture book. If you want to have pictures and you want the steps written out again, this guide will be extremely helpful. So it is available in both English and Spanish. And if you're watching this on our Learn site, which is our webinar website, it will be down in the resources section below. Or, if you're watching this well into the future, we plan on making these a feature on our website, sectorsmadesimple.com. But that's all the material that I have for you all today. In 45 minutes, we have answered questions, given you a basic introduction, explained to you what sector ETFs are, and shown you a trading strategy. Trading strategy part took 15 minutes. Using it can be 5 minutes or less. Honestly, once you've done it once or twice, it's even less than 5 minutes. We wanted to show just how easy it is to invest. So, if what we showed you today seems interesting, if you want to make a copy of that article, please don't send access requests. That's basically asking, hey, can I edit things? We're not going to give you access to them, unfortunately. You can go here to File, and then make a copy. That will make a copy of it that you can keep for yourself, or you can bookmark that link. The link is not going anywhere. Oh, that's interesting. It is not opening at all. Thank you for letting me know. Can you try again? Can you try again and let me know if it's working now? Still no? I see an anonymous hamster and anonymous gopher have made their appearance, which means no more 6 weeks of winter. It works. Yes, it's working. Awesome. Cool. Thank you for letting me know, Energy and Power 2008. Appreciate it. Cool. Well, that's what I have for you all today. Again, if you want access to the tools needed to do the strategy, it is available to any and all Sectors Made Simple subscribers. So if you're interested, please head on over to our website, sectorsmadesimple.com, to learn more about us, see what our subscriptions offer, as well as to see what pricing options we have available. But until Friday, thank you all so much. Again, if you have any questions, you can email us at support@sectorsmadesimple.com, and we'll see you all back on Friday. Thank you all so much.